Hey everybody, F Baby here. Just wanted to do something a little bit different today. Going to show you where I go to farm leather. This is in Rivenspire. You're going to go to Silverhoof Vale. You're probably going to get there from the Old Town Way Shrine, the Old Guard Way Shrine. We're going to be farming Rubedite leather today, so we just run our asses over here. I like this spot because it is never really populated. There's almost nobody here. This is not on the main quest line. This is a side quest. So from time to time, you will see people questing. I believe the quest is to grab some eggs from the harpies, and then you set like a trap for them or something. It's been a long time since I've done it. Maybe one day I'll go do it again. It's not particularly interesting. But anyway, you just start here, and we're going to run a simple loop. These harpies are pretty good for additional loot as well. They have the junk loot of foul hides or whatever it is. They also have the opportunity to drop you some gear. Normally it's just, garbage blue or green gear where it's Rubedite, Axe of Frost or whatever, and you're going to sell it or decon it. But it's still gear. I always recommend when you have a companion out, or when you're farming leather, have a companion out because you can find companion gear. You're not probably gonna get like sweet purple aggressive gear from this, but you can still find gear that's worth some. I found some blue, like a blue resto staff that had the soothing trait, and that's that can sell for like 50k or so, depending on when. Obviously, at the start of a new patch, a companion gear is better. Uh, as you saw, there's somebody here, so I just extended my loop. This isn't the usual loop you'll see where I'm usually going in a minute, but I do appreciate that I said almost nobody is ever here, and then of course the very first run I do of this, somebody is here. But the good thing is that all these enemies respawn really fast. I think Zos made it so that in the beginning base game zones, when you're questing, you often find areas where enemies respawn really quickly. And as somebody who likes to farm enemies, etc., it's very pleasant. But when you're starting out, especially if you're brand new to the game, you have no CP and no idea what's going on. It's actually a little bit frustrating. I remember several times when I was playing through quest lines that I was just like, dude, are these guys fucking back already? But yeah, as you can see, we're back at the start here. So I'm going to do another round. Hopefully I don't see anybody. These harpies die pretty easily. I'd recommend for, I'm using a Templar. If you're more skilled with another class, then you should use that class. Or if you have a great DPS tune, this is not a situation where you want to like hold back on your damage. You just want to burst these down as quickly as possible because they respawn really quickly. I think the fastest I've ever clocked myself doing the core loop here is like just under a minute. And they were already respawned after 1 minute's time. So I feel like you could burst and burst and burst as fast as you can, and there is no reason to think that you would ever have to like stop. The caveat here is that this is one of the boringest farms in the world. I like it better than doing the bats in Ondil or the bears in Bankerai, mostly because both of those are much more well known. You can find half a dozen videos about the bats in Ondil, and I think about 50% of YouTube videos that talk about leather farming are going to take you to either Bankerai or the cats outside of Riften. And so you will probably find people there constantly. This is much less well known. One, like I said, it's not on the main quest. Two, it is in an area that nobody really goes back to. I don't think Necropotence gear, which drops from this area, is anywhere near the meta anymore. And I don't even know that Outcast recommends it on his starter builds. I think he has you do like some crafted gear. I know at one point Necropotent Pet Sorks were considered like solo arena viable builds, but I'm pretty sure that day is come and gone. And so you're not likely to see anybody out here. I also don't think there are any treasure chests along this little route that we're in. So even if people are out hunting Necropotence gear for whatever reason, they're not going to come up here. So you can just run this loop at your pace. I recommend faster, obviously, to get through and get your leather etc. I also would recommend that you definitely do this route if you have plus, because you are going to get a ton of junk and need to fill up. And if all of your mats are also, or need to empty your bags, and if all of your mats are also going into your bag, you're going to fill up even faster. I also recommend having the merchant companion, because the amount of junk you do get here is insane. You can also, if you're if you're less concerned about picking up the incidentals and actually making gold off of them, you can set up something like personal assistant to just destroy anything that you don't want in your bag. I do that with my other farmer when I'm stealing pretty much anything that is stolen junk for all intents and purposes. It auto deletes unless it's blue. Um, but yeah, this is a little taxing on your bag space. It can be uh, kind of a journey to get through all of this, just because you're going to have to stop and empty out your bags. It is an unavoidable thing. You actually don't have to kill this little guy right here. I just do it because he's in the way. I would also recommend, for me personally, I always do this while I'm listening to music, because one, like I said, it's boring, but two, I hate the sound of heartbeats. Like I hate the sound they make. It's distracting to me. So I almost always have the sound down, or I'm on a phone, or I'm doing something else, because I can't just listen to these guys. It's too bad, because the Riven Spire music is pretty cool. I like it, but yeah. So this is it. This is a straightforward loop. I am going to run until I get a full stack of 200 rubidite, rubedo leather. Jeez, man, it shouldn't take me terribly long. It's also worth mentioning I changed my add-on that I'm displaying my tracking with. You see it on the left. Instead of using undeads, I'm using ESO Harvest Buddy. I don't usually use it because it takes up a little too much screen space, but I feel like for demonstration purposes, this is a better app, or better add-on, because you can actually see the big numbers on the side of the screen. It can get, like I said, it's a little bit of a screen hog if you're trying to track everything that you're farming. But if you're looking for like one specific thing, it has a lot of nice features. I definitely check it out. I do I do think Undeads is overall better because it's flexible. Undeads allows you to find the item code and add whatever you want to track uh, to your farming display. I guess your farming output sounds so corporate. But this is definitely a fine add-on to use. It's definitely more visually appealing if you're somebody who likes having like the big number in front of your face and seeing the actual picture of the item. Then I think this is a good add-on to use. I preferred companion-wise to use Isabel for this character. She's probably my best killer. I like her VO. I know she's a goody two shoes and talks about sweets and yada yada yada, but I think she's a good companion. I'm a big fan of Azandar, the new companion, as well, but that's because he can help you farm with those portfolios. I've got a video coming up on that later this month, I think. But the Otherwise, most of the other companions I don't care for. I really don't like bringing Miri on these things because I will accidentally click a torch bug, and even though it's not that much rep that you lose, I find myself irritated that I did it. I do wish Zos would have thought about this before they made that a thing, because you can accidentally click on torch bugs, and I feel like they're just punishing us for their bad decisions. But whatever. I also feel like they could have brought out these new companions. Like, honestly, any of the companions besides the original two would have been better first companions to introduce us to. I think people would have liked them just a little bit more. But Bastion being kind of a whiner, and Miri having a weird compunction about bugs, and then Miri kind of being contrasted to Bastion, where she's supposed to be, like, he's the goody two shoes and she's kind of more like the bad girl. The fact that she gets upset with the Blade of Woe kills, I think, pisses a lot of people off, because apparently a lot of people Blade of Woe folks. I can't say I'm surprised. It's a very easy way to get around stuff, but yeah, it's a very odd choice to bring Bastion and Miri out first. They don't really they're not nearly as good as the companions that have come later, both in flavor and in like abilities. So I guess maybe though if they had brought, like, I don't know, Isabel and Azadar out first, those would have sucked, and the new companions Bastion and Miri would be good. So who's to say? Zos is never predictable. I'll give him that much. But yeah, other add-ons you probably want to get. I use bandits, so that's why my display looks a little different. I'm sure pretty much anybody watching this knows that. I like bandits minimap. I used to use Fearkins, but I've been having real problems with that over like the last three add-ons and so or last three updates. So I think maybe it was time to move on from that. I also use harvest maps. Obviously, that is a must for all farmers. Even though I'm not grabbing any resources from the world in this run, the even this guy who I almost exclusively use for farming leather and killing world bosses, I keep I keep his pins on because you don't want to run by a platinum seam and not grab it. Just a foolish waste of time. But yeah, as you can see here, I have now collected all 200 of my Rubedo, Jesus Christ, Rubedo scraps that I was planning on getting on this run. It's a very boring route, but it only took me about 15 minutes. I'm going to start heading back to the way shrine. Easiest way to get to this way shrine is to just hug the wall. I don't think it is that's not like revolutionary information. But yeah, this is a very simple, easy route. You can do it pretty much on any character, any level. You can always get scraps no matter what level your leatherworking is at. If you're finding yourself bored of Spellscar and you want to see that it can be even more boring to grind XP, you come out here and try to get some XP. It's not the greatest for that, but it's always available. There's almost never anybody here. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments who your favorite companion is, or if you have a leatherworking spot, or even if you just think I'm some big scrub. And I will catch you guys on